Hello, everyone, and I would just like to welcome everyone to this informational webinar on the City of Edmonton's Clean Energy Improvement Program for commercial properties. My name is Brendan Gray, and I am the CEIP Contractor Management Program Lead at Alberta Municipalities. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Kimberly, who is the CEIP Commercial Program Lead. Kim and I are also joined by Barbara Daly, Ashish Mohan, and Marni Devlin Moses, as well as Claire Penny at the City of Edmonton. So to start off, for those of you who may not have heard of us, Alberta Municipalities is an organization that works with municipalities to advocate for solutions to municipal issues and provides services such as managed IT, insurance, retirement, investment, and energy management services to support communities to become stronger and more resilient. Within Alberta Municipalities is the Sustainability Services Department, and it's our department's goal to help municipalities achieve their climate and sustainability goals. And then obviously within that department, nestled within it is CEIP, or the Clean Energy Improvement Program. And Alberta Municipalities, the reason we're speaking to you today is because we are the designated program administrator for the Clean Energy Improvement Program under CEIP regulation. So what is CEIP? Well, CEIP's not your average financing tool. It's specifically designed to increase the uptake of energy efficiency and renewable energy installations. And through CEIP, property owners borrow funds from their municipality to pay for upgrades on their properties, and they pay the money back over time through their municipal property tax bill. This sort of program, this type of program, has been successful in many other jurisdictions, including the United States and Canada. And CEIP is different from other financial instruments because the repayment, or what we call the Clean Energy Improvement Tax, is tied to the property and not the property owner. That means that when the property owner sells their building or the property, the new owner takes over the CEIP repayment and also gets to benefit from the energy cost savings of the upgrades and the increased comfort. CEIP is a municipal program. Municipalities choose whether they'll offer the program, and they opt in by passing a CEIP bylaw. Edmonton opted in to the program by passing a bylaw on August 19th, 2019. And their bylaw includes, it also encompasses not only commercial, but residential properties. So as program administrator, Alberta Municipalities works with municipalities across the province to design and implement local CEIP programs. Each municipality has a slightly different CEIP program, but all programs are guided by CEIP regulation. The City of Edmonton's CEIP program is a 2-year pilot, and it launched on June 7th of this year, making it Canada's first property assessed clean energy financing program for commercial property in Western Canada. The 2-year pilot has approximately $6.9 million in financing available to support an estimated 20 projects. Now I'm going to pass things off to Kim.
Thank you, Brendan. Next slide, please. So why would a property owner choose the Clean Energy Improvement Program? Well, the first reason is that there's very competitive terms. So CEIP offers competitive interest rates, and property owners can finance up to 100% of the project cost. The program also offers long repayment terms of up to 20 years, and financing can be repaid at any time. So as of today, September 14th, the annual interest rate is 3.5%. But it's important to note that the interest rate provided by the municipality, the City of Edmonton, for your CEIP project is calculated based on a combination of the Bank of Canada interest rate plus applicable financing fees, with the absolute maximum that's stated in the bylaw that was enacted for CEIP at 9%. Just note that the rate applied will be specified in your financing agreement. And if you have any questions at any time, please contact us for the most up-to-date rate as it moves with the Bank of Canada's decisions. The second important reason is loan transferability. So one of the reasons that business owners or property owners don't undertake clean energy improvements is due to the fact that they might not know how long they're going to be occupying their property. So some upgrades like solar PV can last over 25 years. With CEIP, it's important to realize that the financing is tied to the property, not the property owner, which often gives people comfort. Because if the property owner were to sell their property, the new owner can assume the CEIP payment and enjoy the benefits of what's been installed. And we're often asked if there's any issues at time of sale of the property due to the CEIP financing. Typically, whoever's buying your property will see the value in the upgrades, and if not, as mentioned before, you can repay the financing at any time. You can repay it before you sell, and there's a lot of flexibility. The third reason is there are benefits to both the property owner and tenant. So CEIP can help you finance upgrades that may increase the value of the property. Upgrades that are made to your property through CEIP, such as solar panels, improved heating and cooling, and ventilation equipment, which I'll go through in the later slides, can result in reduced operating expenses and improved cash flow. Next slide, please. So some of the eligible properties for CEIP are shown here in picture form, but eligible properties for CEIP in Edmonton are privately owned and located within the city of Edmonton. So we have some pictures of eligible properties here, but we have non-residential properties are shown, and these are described as commercial properties that are designated for general commercial occupancy and used for business activities, which include the picture on the left here, which is corporate offices, retail properties, and accommodation of properties such as hotels and motels. The next category in the middle picture are not designated industrial properties. For example, some businesses that operate as manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, contractor shops, and other industrial purposes. And on the third is a special purpose property that was built to suit a specific purpose. And some examples here are churches, museums, rec centers, golf courses, and performing arts facilities. The other category of properties that are eligible for CEIP is a farmland property. And for more information on eligibility and whether your property is eligible, please see the terms and conditions on myceip.ca or feel free to contact us. Next slide, please. So only upgrades that are listed on our CEIP website are eligible for CEIP financing. Eligible upgrades that we list on our website for commercial properties will either increase energy efficiency or the use of renewable energy on a property to be compliant with the regulation. There's a wide range of upgrades that are listed for commercial properties that are eligible for CEIP. And just note that your energy efficiency upgrades have to be recommended in an ASHRAE Level 2 audit report. And there has to be a minimum of 3 upgrades that are installed to be eligible as a single project in the city of Edmonton. So an ASHRAE Level 2 audit report will be done by an engineering consultant, and this can help you identify the best opportunities for your building, which can save energy and also establish a baseline for your consumption and how your facility compares to similar facilities. The audit will identify all energy conservation measures that are appropriate for your facility and provide financial analysis for each measure. The cost of this audit can be financed through CEIP, and there's also a rebate available from the City of Edmonton's benchmarking program that I'll let Marni speak to later that will assist in this cost. Note that there's over 50 upgrade categories eligible for financing on myceip.ca. Next slide, please. As mentioned earlier, we have over 50 upgrade categories. So here's some pictures of the categories that we've included on myceip.ca, but this will include windows, doors, insulation, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment, ground and air source heat pumps, solar PV and solar thermal, LED lighting and controls, and also commercial kitchen ventilation. Again, all energy efficiency upgrades have to be listed on the energy audit, with the exception of solar PV. Next slide, please. CEIP projects in Edmonton have financing terms that are a maximum of 20 years. And to be eligible for a CEIP project, your total project costs have to be greater than $3,000. The maximum term length is 20 years, but the actual term length can be dependent on the effective useful life of the upgrade, which is posted on myceip.ca. For example, solar PV has an effective useful life of 25 years, but the maximum for upgrades is 20 years, so the financing term is 20 years. A high efficiency furnace has an effective useful life of 17 years, so 17 years will be the financing term for that upgrade. Financing is capped at a total of $1 million for non-residential properties and $300,000 for farmland properties. And the annual clean energy improvement tax cannot exceed the municipal property tax that was paid in the previous year. So if you paid $100,000 in your annual municipal property tax in 2021, your tax cannot exceed the amount, and we can calculate that for you when you apply in our project application stage. Note that anything over that amount, anything over and above these limits that are imposed are not financeable by CEIP, and they must be paid out of pocket by the property owner. Next slide, please. So how does commercial CEIP work? The first step is to pre-qualify. The property owner will submit a pre-qualification form at myceip.ca. With this form, you'll need to either provide an ASHRAE Level 2 audit report that's completed, or a quote that shows that you have the audit booked, and a full feasibility study for any renewable energy upgrades you plan to complete. The form is available as a link on myceip.ca on the Edmonton Commercial Program page. In this step, we also recommend that the property owner reads and understands the Edmonton program terms and conditions. The next step, after you've received pre-qualification approval, will be project application. The property owner will then take their ASHRAE audit, select their upgrades, and find qualified contractors from our CEIP directory. And they will submit the project application form and all supporting documentations. If you're interested in pursuing renewable energy upgrades, again, other than solar PV, will require a full feasibility study for that upgrade. The next step, we will take your project application back, work with you to streamline all the documentation, and then we will facilitate signing of the agreements. Once your project application is approved, we have two agreements that we'll sign: the Clean Energy Improvement Agreement and the Project Agreement. And in this step, number 3, it's also installation. Once your upgrades are installed, the property owner will submit required documentation. And once the appropriate permits for construction are applied and closed, we will pay your contractor directly. Step 4 is the post-project memo. Once the upgrades are installed and the contractors have been paid, the property owner will work with their engineering consultant to estimate the energy and GHG savings. We'll require a memo that documents the energy savings of what you've installed. And the last step is repayment. The eligible project costs are added on your property tax bill for repayment. Next slide. So as we've discussed, CEIP can provide financing for your project, but there are rebate programs that are available to lessen the burden. The City of Edmonton has rebate programs available for commercial projects through their Building Energy Retrofit Accelerator, or BERA for short, and their benchmarking program. I'll let Marni speak more about that in a bit. But these two programs are available to CEIP participants in Edmonton, but there's also other rebate programs that are available to businesses in Alberta. And this is called the Energy Savings for Business Program, or ESB. Both of these rebate programs can help reduce your project costs and may enable you to take on deeper retrofits. We always encourage people to take advantage of as many rebate programs as available. Since the city will speak more about their BERA and benchmarking programs in the later slides, I'll just go over the ESB program that is offered by Emissions Reduction Alberta. Next slide, please. So Energy Savings for Business program is an Emissions Reduction Alberta program, and it gives eligible Alberta businesses quick access to incentives for energy efficiency measures. Eligible businesses can access up to $250,000 per project and up to $1 million per parent company to purchase and install energy efficient technologies that can reduce emissions, decrease operating costs, and help businesses grow their operations and become more competitive. Like CEIP, which is what we're representing today, and BERA, which is from the City of Edmonton program, contractors are vital to the success of the ESB program. Contractors can help clients find even more savings by stacking rebates from both programs for eligible technologies. To get started, contractors have to register and be approved by the ESB program to be able to participate. Once complete, contractors can help their customers purchase and install eligible technologies and guide them through the application journey. ERA also offers a special application assist program, which is a streamlined tool that is available to participants. So there's an application assist team that will help you build your application in a step-by-step process, which helps people easily submit their applications. And just to note that ESB, or Energy Savings for Business, is a completely separate program for CEIP, and property owners will have to apply for this separately. These are rebates that are offered by a separate agency, and it's important to note that CEIP upgrades align with ESB upgrades. And again, we encourage you to apply for these rebates as well. And that is it for the ESB program. I will pass this presentation over to Marni from the City of Edmonton to share more about their rebate programs.
Great. Thanks, Kim. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the city, how the city and the few commercial programs that we have in place. So in addition to CEIP, and these programs really are help building and business owners find ways to lower their energy use, lower greenhouse gas emissions, and of course, lower costs. So before taking action and implementing these energy saving retrofits, we have what we call the Building Energy Benchmarking Program, which is currently in year 6. And this is really a first step for building owners to understand their current energy use before finding ways to reduce that consumption. So essentially our mantra is you can't manage what you don't measure. So benchmarking essentially is just a mechanism to measure energy performance of a building over time to see if it's getting better or worse. So our benchmarking program follows a few simple steps. They're kind of shown on the side there in that big circle. First is registration. Once you've registered, you measure your electricity and natural gas use in the building and share that energy use with the city using a tool called Energy Star Portfolio Manager, which is run by Natural Resources Canada. Once the city receives the data from all program participants, we compare similar buildings to each other and then share that data in a public online dashboard and in building specific scorecards that we send individually to each participant so they can understand the specific details and energy profile of their own building. And as Kim alluded to, buildings that participate in benchmarking are eligible for an ASHRAE Level 2 energy audit if they want to learn more about how their building can save energy and money. And of course, CEIP requires that ASHRAE Level 2 audit. So these programs are quite well aligned. And of course, any participant in benchmarking is then eligible for our rebate program. Again, the Building Energy Retrofit Accelerator, or BERA, to help lower the cost of actually implementing those energy efficient upgrades. So we can just go to the next slide and I'll talk a little bit about BERA. So the current BERA eligible measures list is available on the website, and the current measure categories are listed just below on that slide. I think in June of this year, the eligibility list was actually expanded to offer solar PV and battery rebates, among all the other technologies like lighting, controls, HVAC, building envelopes, etc. And CEIP applicants in the City of Edmonton will automatically be enrolled in BERA as well as benchmarking. But BERA and benchmarking rebates can be accessed outside of CEIP financing as well, just they are tied to the CEIP program. There are a couple of ceilings in the BERA in terms of maximum rebate amounts. They're noted there. So $75,000 combined total for all measures, and $125,000 maximum if there's a heat pump included. And rebates in BERA are up to a maximum of 50% of the equipment and labor costs. And there's a minimum rebate of $1,000, and the maximum rebate really depends on whether or not those projects include the installation of a heat pump, as noted there. There's also a bundling bonus for projects that complete upgrades for multiple measure categories. So that could be an additional 5 or 10% bonus to exceed those previously noted caps in those cases. So there is, definitely some large rebates to be had if you're really doing some deeper energy retrofits. So if we just go to the next slide. Just wanted to show sort of an example, how do these rebate programs integrate with CEIP from a city's perspective? And this is really just an example of how BERA rebates can be used to reduce the financing costs. So in this sort of example application, each of the listed upgrades are BERA eligible, and so they have a corresponding rebate value associated with them. So in this particular case, there's solar PV, battery, wall insulation. And if you add up all those costs, we've estimated that they would be at about $1 million. The rebates associated with that would equal about $118,650. So in essence, the amount that you have to finance is actually only $881,350. So that's just an example to show how the rebates from the city can reduce the actual amount of financing needed. And commercial CEIP projects are capped at $1 million, as Kim noted. So I can answer any questions later on in the Q&A section, but I'll pass it back over to Kim or Brandon. Thanks.
Thanks, Marni. So now that you've heard about CEIP and you're excited to get moving on your project, I wanted to talk about how you can get started as a property owner. So as a commercial property owner, you'll first need to visit myceip.ca/Edmonton-commercial. We've got it linked up here on the screen, but you can also easily navigate to this page on our website. Just head to myceip.ca and you'll be able to navigate there fairly easily. And on this webpage, you'll be able to look at program details and carefully review the program terms and conditions. And then finally, fill out your pre-qualification application form. And we'll be there the whole time to support you throughout the process and up until the point your project has been completed. I also wanted to mention for contractors, before you get started, I know we have a few contractors on the call, that you consider the following. So firstly, before you consider participating in our program, it's important that you are aware of the fact that all upgrades must be completed by CEIP qualified contractors. This means that to participate in the program, you'll need to apply and meet the qualified contractor requirements that are listed on our website. Contractors must also be familiar with CEIP and BERA eligibility criteria. And although there's a lot of alignment between the two programs, there's still some differences that exist. So it's important you're aware of those differences. Contractors must also provide all necessary documentation to building owners. And this documentation includes things like upgrade specification sheets, pictures of installed products, Energy Star logos, and permits. And then finally, any changes to CEIP projects, such as timelines, costs, equipment, must be pre-approved by Alberta municipalities before you move forward with those changes. Now, for you to get started, contractors, you can also visit myceip.ca. It's really our hub for anything and everything CEIP. And on our For Contractors page, we have an FAQ and details about relevant pieces of the program for contractors. And you'll be able to click through to our qualified contractor application form. On that page, before you submit your application, make sure that you carefully read the qualified contractor terms and conditions, the marketing guidelines, and the code of conduct and issue escalation framework for contractors. Before we wrap up here, I also just wanted to point you towards our Contractor Directory, which you can find again on our website. And this is where you can see how qualified contractors will be featured on the directory and listed for property owners, and how property owners will go about searching for the right qualified contractor or contractors for their project. Now with that, this concludes our presentation. If you do have any questions that come up after this presentation, we've put the email address for our the email address that you can use to ask any questions that you might have via email. That's the best way to reach us with your questions. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for taking the time today to come in and learn more about the program. We also have some more contact information on this slide here. So do look out for the follow-up email to this event that will be coming through to you if you signed up through Eventbrite, which will have the slides and the recording of this presentation. Thanks, everyone.